Rule number 37. Some verbs compounded with prepositions can sometimes take two accusatives. In the last rule, number 36, we saw that verbs of calling can take two accusatives, one a direct object and the other a predicate accusative. In this video, I'll show you how verbs compounded with certain prepositions can also take two accusatives, but there's something different going on here. Here's a model sentence for this rule. Caesar Germanos flumen traicet. Caesar is our nominative subject of the verb traicet. Caesar throws, but there are two objects here. The direct object is Germanos, answering the question of whom did Caesar throw. But notice that the verb is a compound verb. The basic root is jacet, to throw, but with the prefix trans added to it to give us our verb traicet. And it's this trans, meaning across, that we use to translate our second accusative, which is dependent on the prefixing preposition. Caesar throws the Germans across the river. This rule usually applies to these four verbs: traicio, to throw across; transduco, to lead across; transporto, to bring across; and circumduco, to lead around. Also, this is quite common in Caesar's commentaries, and in fact, all of my examples here come from them. Exercitum ligerem traducit. He leads his army across the Liger, and that's the Latin name for the Loire River. Exercitum is the direct object of traducit, and the accusative ligerem is dependent on the trans prefix, so that's why we read it as across the Liger. Pompeius viros praesidia circumduxit. Pompey, the Great, led the men around his fortifications. Viros is the direct object accusative, with praesidia the accusative, it's neuter by the way, dependent on the circum prefix on the verb. And in fact, notice that in these examples, we've actually split up the meaning of our verb into its base form and then the prefix. This accusative is retained when we use the passive voice, believe it or not. So this previous sentence, rendered passively, becomes viri praesidia a Pompeio circumducti sunt. The men were led around the fortifications by Pompey. Caesar has the phrase Rhinum traductos, the men led across the Rhine. Sometimes, though, we can repeat the prefix for emphasis. Multitudinem hominum trans Rhinum traducit. He leads the crowd of men across the Rhenus or Rhine. And this is perfectly acceptable. Notice that our understanding of these sentences includes adding the definition of the prefixing preposition later on in the sentence, in essence, splitting the verb up into two parts, the base meaning and its prefix. But there are times when these verbs are used a bit more simply and don't take a second accusative. So traicio also has a simple meaning of to pierce or to cross, and we see sentences like these: Gladeo hostem traiecit, he pierced his enemy with a sword, and Rhenum traiecit, he crossed the Rhine. Only one object here, and that's perfectly fine too. We should always be flexible when reading Latin. And that's rule number 37. Some verbs compounded with prepositions can sometimes take two accusatives.